This video is meant for people who voted for Trump or voted for Kamala or didn't vote for anyone or not even American. You might not even care for politics. I just think that it's going to be really important to listen to this entire timeline report because we're going to get into a lot of different layers of the quantum and spiritual aspects of what is going on the planet right now. There's so much that I've been working on this entire year that I literally couldn't talk about or couldn't post, couldn't tell you guys about until I got the signal. And, this elections was that for some reason. I'm going to explain it to you. I've kind of been foreseeing this win. Many of us have for a very long time, many, many months. And there's been a lot of people seeing this, and there's a reason for this. And at the end of the day, it's not about the politics. It's about people like you and me understanding what our role is and doing the work that we have come here to do. So I'm going to be forecasting this timeline from a very quantum and higher dimensional perspective through the lens of God's mission, God's timeline, and the Guardian mission, the Starseed mission. We're going to talk about the satanic underbelly of society and all the horrible things that happen on Earth that is needing to be cleared out. If you guys remember, in the beginning of the year, during our 2024 Dragon Year Energy Report, we talked about the dragons eating the underbelly of the cities and destroying the foundation of what is rotting, right? Why human civilization is not working, and all of this horrible, depression, mental illness, economic problems, all of these things are existing on the earth when we could be existing in a wonderful, beautiful world. If you ever go for a hike, you'll see that nature is so full of brilliance and peace and beauty and majesty, and human beings are so full of joy and creativity. We're really meant to have a very beautiful, coherent, creative, joyful civilization that is in union and in prostration of God. So why is it that we don't have that? This is very important. A lot of starseeds, we get this signal. We say heaven on earth, new earth. I say aurora earth. We're here to help lead humanity into this higher timeline. So how can we do that if there is all of this chaos and debris that is in the way? And sometimes the false light tells us to just look away from it, that if we just ignore it, it'll go away. But this is another word for spiritual bypass. So if we were to not spiritually bypass those realities and understand that human trafficking, human slavery, ritual abuse, these things have to end. We understand that those things have to be eradicated. Then what is our role in that? Okay, so this is all the most important key points that I'm going to hit because I believe that this isn't about Trump and his administration at all. Even though they could be doing amazing things, at the end of the day, what I want to be focusing on is what the starseeds are actually here to do. Okay, I believe that God is creating space and cover for us to actually make amazing progress in the next 4 years. A lot of us are finally going to get to express our gifts in a wider audience. And it is truly the perfect time for us to become strong and create what we want and what humanity wants. So understand that I'm genuinely trying to help us find the middle ground. A lot of you guys that are watching this, if you are really upset, if you are even emotionally damaged, I know that there are a lot of people that feel awful about this election. I want to create this video to also help you understand that it's not the end of the world. Okay, and for those of you that voted for Trump, are for Trump, and are just kind of shocked by the retaliation that's coming up, this video is also to help you understand why that is happening and how to actually come into unity and coherence and support those people, because this is the result of massive black magic and ritual abuse, grid inversions that's happened on this planet for a really long time. So it makes sense for all of this to come up to be purged, and we have to meet it with peace and compassion and understanding and higher understanding, quantum medicine that we have been bringing in. And so I hope that this video brings in the context and the clarity on the fact. I know for fact we are on the highest timeline. This is the highest timeline. This is why I'm so elated. So if you are confused about that, please keep listening, because we are traversing this very magical highest timeline, which I've been aware of confidently since the summertime before the Emerald Awakening. Now, I want you to know that I do not think that Trump is a god or a deity. I don't think he's going to be creating the golden age on his own. But what I do believe is that this campaign, if you really look at his campaign, it's been part of what the Aurora call a timeline anomaly. Timeline anomaly, things that are strange, things that if it happened 10 years ago, you would have been like, what? How could that happen? So it's to show us that God can ultimately use anyone as an instrument, and God is beginning to use all puppets, all beings as instruments. This is because of the grid work and the prayers and the light workers being on the earth, that God is beginning to have greater and greater capacity to exert creation over this realm, reclaim this dominion. So, a question that you have to ask yourself in the beginning of this call, before we go into anything, my question to you is, how close to God do you feel inside? How much faith do you feel in the visions that you have received and in this mission that God has placed inside of you? That we are here to lead humanity to a golden age, to heaven on earth, to aurora earth, whatever words you want to call it. Do you have more faith in that than in the evil? Because that is something that we are all going to need to figure out. And this is where I'm sitting. I feel that God's hands is all over all of us, all over the planet, all over what is unfolding. Even though as we rise up through the debris, through the chaos, it's kind of hard to see sometimes. And as we rise through this pocket, we're in this magical pocket where one control system is in the process of being taken down, and another control system may very well be working on being established. Okay, this is what you guys have to understand. I'm not 100% pro Trump. I want us to all have our wits about us and be recognizing that the absolute ultimate leader is God. God can use anyone as a puppet. God can use anyone as an instrument. Anyone can redeem themselves, right? These are the teachings of Christ. However, I don't want us all to throw out all of our common sense and just jump on a bandwagon. I never support that on this channel. So we need to have our intelligence about us. We need to keep our eyes on things, because it's totally possible that there is revelation happening, there's redemption happening, but it's also very possible that there is one control system that is being exposed and another one that is on its way to being established. But this opens up a pocket so that the starseeds can actually rise up, right? It's a weak spot in the timeline where we can actually rise and establish the true timeline before anything else can happen. So if you are a Kamala supporter, if you are on the left, I genuinely wish you understand, and you genuinely wish to understand why so many people are actually excited. Not stupid people, not racist people, but beautiful and kind people. Why these people voted for Trump. Please stick around this video. I hope to make it all make sense. People like to say that. They're like, make it make sense. I'm like, I'm here to make it make sense. Just watch the video. So I come with compassion and understanding. I know that this is the way to the next level of disclosure. I know that my role in disclosure is explaining to humanity the spiritual effects of the ritual abuse, the human trafficking, and on a spiritual level, why those things happen, and also how to heal from that. And so I guess last thing I'll say is just to please be open to different new perspectives. Do not just take my word for it. You don't have to believe in anything that I'm saying, but please just be aware of your own mind's ability to try thinking on for size. This is actually a skill that we can practice, to try to take on other people's beliefs and thinkings on for size, and to try it on so we can just practice healthy discernment. And this is called non-biased mental processing. This is a sign of intelligence. It's our process of figuring out what the reality is. And the only way that we can do that is have our own authentic relationship with the reality and understand when we're actually taking on information from the external reality. So I don't want you to do that, even with this video. Okay, now, before we get into this timeline report, I want to introduce to you guys my next line of Gridwork events, because I've been waiting for this election to show you guys, and you're going to understand why by the end of this video. But this next year of Gridwork for us has to do with the revelations of the ritual abuse that's happened on this planet for, I don't know, at least thousands of years in known history, probably longer. And in order for us to clear the grids, clear the systems that have been built on this muck, built on human torture and blood magic and ritual sacrifice and things like this, in order for us to truly break free of these frequency fences, Gridwork is so important. This is the solution that I'm offering to humanity to navigate these things. This is why I say in the past when people say, oh, I want disclosure so much, I say, we're not ready for a disclosure yet. I wasn't ready yet. I'm sure, this is just saying like as a marker for starseed groundedness and everything. It's like once disclosure happens, we're the ones that are going to have to hold space for everybody. So if we still have all these traumas and we can't stay grounded and we can't stay centered, we can't stay loving, then, it's going to be absolute chaos. And I feel like the last 4 years, we've been able to work on ourselves, get to a different place, get grounded about what our own skills and gifts are. And so you can find the link in the description of this video. I'm doing 2 massive 3-day, 3 to 4 day Gridwork events. These are full day events, meaning they are 6 to 8 hours long, 3 to 4 days. And the first one's going to be over the Laniakiea alignment, when the earth, the sun, and the heart of the universe are in a straight line. This is a time when we can truly bring in cosmic union, holy Mother, Father, God consciousness. And we're going to use this passageway as a way to truly heal and clear the seals and the implants and learn how to activate our light body. And then in February, over the Cygnus gateway, when the earth, the sun, the Cygnus constellation are aligned, this is when we are going to collectively, as a group, go in to clear the deepest ritual abuse grids on the planet. These things are what is creating so much instability and emotional harm. These things are connected to why these push for, gender confusion in children. For so long, our guardian mission was kind of like, we're in our own realm, we're doing the quantum stuff, and then there's the earth stuff that's happening. I need you guys to understand that the worlds are coming together, the worlds are collapsing. We're beginning to see all this stuff that were conspiracy theory that's literally playing out in the external reality. This is why I'm so excited, because I exist and you all exist. And let us not diminish our role in all of this. Why has God placed every single one of us here on the planet? It's because we can understand things from this quantum, multidimensional way, and we can actually support humanity through this clearing. I believe that certain beings are being put in place to create a shelter for us on a political and societal level, so that we can actually now feel safe to do our work. And I feel like over the next month, I'm going to be releasing videos on multidimensionality of human trafficking, ritual abuse, and why those things happen on the earth, to help you guys understand that it is all a consciousness control system. I always say, just because, we're not being trafficked and abused does not mean that is not affecting us, because this is a satanic societal structure that is affecting everyone. And this abuse occurs through chemical warfare, the food, the jabs, and the constant attacks through the TV, through fear and mental programming and all of these things. And in the earth's grids, in the collective energy, there are these things that are holding humanity down. So I'll get into that at the end of this video, but I just wanted to let you guys know that it's a very exciting time. We're going to be doing really, really big work. And so on that note, the first topic that I want to talk about today is the mind virus. So the mind virus, and Lisa Renee calls this bi-wave consciousness. Bi-wave consciousness is essentially an AI implant. It is not a physical implant, it's an energetic insert, an energetic frequency that gets into our bodies through mind control, through belief systems, through trauma, through things that separate us from others, conflict. Okay, and this mind virus, the ways that you can identify it is it reduces everything to super simplicity. It reduces everything to black and white. In other words, it makes us dumb. It makes us dumber. It keeps us from critical thinking. Okay, and this is how it keeps us in non-organic, non-authentic thought. So how we see this in the world is this echo chamber, right? You hear so many talking points and you're like, how come every single person has the same talking point? Sometimes when I'm talking about these different things, people say, oh, see, I've never heard anyone talk about things like that. And it's because, these things come from my brain and from me thinking about this stuff through my own belief systems that came with me from my soul. So an example of hyper simplistic thinking is Because someone voted for Trump, they must be stupid. Because somebody voted for Kamala, they must be stupid. Because somebody voted for Trump, they must be a racist. Because somebody voted for Kamala, they must be, missing brain cells, whatever it is. It's like these super hyper simplistic statements that, may be true for 10, 15% if you look at it from that angle, but it's actually coming from a very flattened, non-dimensional part of our brain. Another example is governments are corrupt, so all government is bad, right? Some police can be racist, so let's defund all police. This is how the mind virus works. It makes us stupid because it doesn't allow us to think about the outcome, think about the organic reality. Because, for example, with the police, yes, some police can be rude and they're not doing it because it's their life purpose and they're racist and they exert false violence onto people. But you guys don't remember what life was like when there was no police. Okay, so crime always goes up in states where police are being defunded or disrespected, because in a true golden age, not only would everybody have education on how to be a good human, but there are beings that who are born, there actually are biological structures, right? Just like in a beehive, there are drones, there are different kinds of bees, there are protector bees, there are seeker bees. In human civilization, there are different kinds of bodies as well. And there are people that are here to protect, here to guard, here to be guardians of the civilization, to create justice and law in alignment with God's law. And so this is common sense, the ability to perceive and learn from the reality. It is a sign of intelligence. And this has been under attack through mind control, through poisons, through the repeating and literally being hammered in the brain, these belief systems. This is also called propaganda. So the thing is that a good government allows you to have the life that you do. I was born in China. I escaped, my family left that country. Okay, the reason is that when I was 5 years old, I was going to school. I had morning school, actual school, after school. I was playing piano 2 hours a day when I was 5 years old. I had exams in first grade, and people were already telling me that if you don't pass or get great grades on your first grade exam, you're going to fail life, because the quality of life in China is not very high, because there's a very controlling government and it is not a democracy. And you have to understand that a good government, as we have on the planet now, if you look at human history for the last 200 years, the spiritual community, we often get into this thing where I call it a spiritual airhead syndrome, which is a funny term that I coined to say that sometimes we just have oversimplistic thinking. Is a sign of an immature consciousness. It's kids that didn't grow up having true education because our education system was hijacked, right? So we need an actual government that is for the people, that is God loving, that is understanding that their role is not to control the people, not to have power, but to actually be of service to the prosperity of everyone involved on the planet. So for many starseeds, we have seen this new UN that is guided by the guardians, guided by, angelics, God, that creates this sort of planetary organization that upholds the laws of God, because we need that. The laws of God must be established on the earth so that we can all operate under the same rules. Murder can happen, rape can happen, stealing is bad. These very basic things that are based on Christic qualities of the heart. So ideologies oversimplify and really banks on our stupidity and our willingness to give away complex multidimensional thinking, that human beings are so, I love to think. I love to think multidimensionally and to think about all angles of things, because this is what we were born with, a brain to do this. We were born to be so creative, so intelligent. And so this mind virus, it really wants to make us dumb and then make us believe that one-dimensional thing is a reality, and then anyone that doesn't believe in that is a bad name, right? Is a fascist, is a racist, is stupid. And it goes both ways. It goes both ways, okay? So this mind virus will look like, if you voted for Trump, then we have nothing in common and you're just a horrible person and I'm going to block you on social media. And this is a very, irrational level of separation, a virus. Now, the separation virus is literally a frequency in our body, is a frequency in our aura. It's like when somebody says something and we're already holding this predisposition to counter what they say, to be against them. And this is not anyone's fault. This has been implanted into our bodies because organically, human beings, we're tribal. We love each other. We want to share food. And, if it was anything that showed this was the recent North Carolina disaster, where people didn't matter what spectrum of politics they're on anymore. They all came together to support each other, right? This is what I believe how human are organically. This is our blueprint. So if we can catch ourselves when we identify the mind virus inside of our body, this is a powerful thing because that means we've identified the real enemy, the enemy that wants to infect us with all of these belief systems that are not organic and not connected to God. Now, why is there so many viruses? Okay, this ties into the satanic reality. So, what I really want you to understand that is that we're here to play chess, not checkers. We are looking at this, the starseeds have been incarnating on this planet probably since the 50s and the 60s in this time cycle, right? So this has been a long-term trajectory. There are things that we're going to do. There are things that our children's generation are going to do. And this is a really big mission. When we talk about rehabilitating an entire planetary structure, creating an ascended civilization on a planetary level, installing benevolent, God-focused, God-centric, Earth-centric, regenerative, nature, ecocentric government in every nation on the earth. Okay, on a grounded level, that's what we're doing. And so when we take these quantum spiritual concepts and really bring them down onto the earth, we realize that there's a lot of work to do. And it's going to happen through every single one of us that's actually willing to get down into our body and start to think practically. This is how we play chess, not checkers. We're not just going to speak light language and fly around the planet and not worry about our parking tickets and our credit and all those things. And this is probably something that can be really triggering. I went through this myself, okay? I had to piece my life together after my 20s of not caring about the matrix and believing it was just going to magically vanish one day. So walk down the timeline with me, okay? Walk down the timeline with me because if you really think about it, so Elon bought X, and X loves and supports free speech. Something that Elon is very supportive as well is he is against the mutilation of children. So once again, I want you to understand that I am not a fan of Elon and I'm not a fan of Trump. What I mean by that is I'm very aware of the fact that there are beings that could very well be working through, especially Elon and people like Vivek, who are very deeply embedded in the biotech industry, who are creating technologies and things like this. These are totally things that we need to have on the back burner of our mind and not put too many eggs in a basket, because what they're wanting, right, is for us to be like, oh, look at those people, this big team of people that showed up. They're going to create new earth. They're going to create the golden age. And now if this activates that savior program in us, we're going to say, oh, finally, people have come to save us, right? We don't have to do anything. So that's something that we have to be really mindful of. For me, God has been telling me that it's one of my roles to help humanity understand why human trafficking, ritual abuse, pedophilia is so widespread on this planet. This is what we're going to get into in the second half of this video, okay? For me, all of my training in the last 12 years have been about the Earth's light body, the human light body, how souls enter and exit our body. What is the science, the spiritual science of the reincarnation technologies, the spiritual light field science of the frequency fence, of the soul prison. These have been my specialties, what I have been focused on studying and mastering the release and healing of, right? This is my guardian mission. And so, however, it's been really hard for me to actually even talk about those things in fear of censorship. I've had so many friends who had their YouTube channels taken down and who are harassed by social media. And if you understand that the left, Kamala and Tim Walz, they were very supportive of censorship. So there's a clip video of Tim saying that, oh, we have to watch out for hate speech, and that if people are going to use free speech to speak hate speech, then we need to take care of that. This is very dangerous language. If you understand that he's not talking about people that are being mean to other people, he's talking about people with different perspectives, people like you and me that have things to say that don't go with the normal narratives, like what happened during the pandemic. Right? So many of us knew that this was wrong, but we couldn't talk about it because we were literally getting censored left, right, and center from social media. This is a huge issue. So coming from China, I see where this goes, okay? When people say, oh, hate speech. So in China, when you talk negatively about the government, that is considered hate speech, and you can go to jail. You can have your family go to jail. You can have your entire life taken from you just because you disagree with what the government is doing. This is a very scary timeline, and that is actually what fascism actually is. And so looking at that piece of it, I'm very grateful that there is this energy of free speech that is coming up, because ultimately what that means is that you are going to be able to speak what you're here to speak without fear of censorship, which is what's happened with me. I got the green light to be starting to talk about some of these topics to bring this understanding to humanity. For so long, I was seeing visions, when I would track these energies of why they are after the mutilation of children and why they're so interested in giving hormones to children. This is nothing that is new, okay? There are these very ancient demons on this planet that have been eating children since the dawn of time. Coincidentally, they often are royalty, people that are of government, people high up in the control system of the earth. And a lot of people, when I scanned the field, I realized that the people that are questioning this timeline or are scared of Trump becoming president are people that just haven't learned about that stuff yet. And I have absolute compassion for that. I remember when I first discovered the fact that ritual abuse is a real thing back in 27. And when I saw these things, I just immediately knew my body that they were true, because I have had very intense psychic experiences where I just went into the earth and I would start to literally see the kinds of things that would happen to children and human beings. In fact, if you just did a little bit of research, you will know that child sex trafficking is a massive problem on this planet, meaning not one or two, not 20 or 30, but hundreds of millions. Okay, hundreds of millions. That's like the entire population of the United States. So we literally have no idea, no scope of the kind of horror and evil that lies in the underbelly of our civilization. And it's literally by no human being's fault. It's literally this ancient control system, the satanic system that has infiltrated its way into human civilization and using humans as food, using this planet as a way to power this fallen realm that has to do with the original fallen angels of creation. Okay, so one thing that I noticed was that, firstly, last time, a few years ago, right, Epstein went to jail, and that was when a bunch of people realized that pedophilia is actually a horrible thing that happens on the planet. And then recently we had Diddy go to jail. Now, I found it very interesting that all the people that hung out with Diddy were the people that endorsed Kamala. This is major red flags. Okay, because a lot of people actually don't know the kinds of awful things that these people do. Abuse of children, secret society rituals. This is the entire underbelly of satanic culture that comes from, in this recent time cycle, the fall of Egypt, which is why when you listen to some of these music videos that have a lot of satanic imagery, there's going to be a lot of fallen Egyptian pantheon vibes in them. I actually have another video on my channel. You can search I don't remember what it's called now, but if you go into videos that I uploaded, like not up live streams, you'll see this video I did about the music industry and how it comes from the fall of Egypt, and how they literally perform very horrendous rituals to cast spells on humanity. Spells are basically mind control, but spiritual, right? Spells create impacts in our energy body and make us think and believe in different things. It creates this film over our consciousness that makes us live in a certain reality. So I want you to understand that words are really important, because how people say things is how you recognize how they're manipulating you and how spells are spoken, how spells are being placed on people. So how this does it is that it plays on people that are highly sensitive, highly emotional, highly empathetic. This is how Satan dresses up and sneaks up on people and deceives them, right? One of the major talking points of the Kamala administration was human rights. And Kamala believes that our rights are abortion, sex change for children, sex change for prisoners. Okay, there is so much that needs to get unpacked there, because I'm actually going to make an entire video about abortion, because people are always like, how could you be poor women? And how can you be, healing the womb if you're anti-Kamala? Well, here's the thing, is that if we had a true golden age where human consciousness was ascended, there would never be an unwanted pregnancy to begin with, and any abortion would be obsolete. Secondly, Kamala always lies about the fact that Trump wants an absolute abortion ban, which isn't even true. Okay, it's not even true. But thirdly, there is a whole underbelly to the whole abortion thing, to Planned Parenthood. The reason why they want humans to be super uncareful, unresponsible with their procreation, right? They want to create this culture. Think about it. All the people that supported Kamala, like Cardi B, for a great example, she's all about promiscuity, shaking her booty all over the place, presenting this very deranged and really disgusting version, this prostituted version of the true feminine. And then they're creating this kind of slut culture, right? It's not about any human being. This is a culture that they're inserting into the planet through Britney Spears, through Ariana Grande, through rappers. Like, they're creating this culture of debauchery and anti-Christ virtues and values. And then they're saying, oh, but if you get pregnant, you can have an abortion. So if Kamala was truly pro-women, she would be, embodying true high feminine qualities like grace, elegance, true love, devotion. But the people that are supporting her, people like J-Lo, right? They're part of this sexual misery programming that works to control humans through perverse, what's the word? The verb for actively perverting human consciousness and really taking humans away from our innocence, which, by the way, our innocence is our connection to God. Our innocence is our original blueprint. This is not about Puritanism. This is about our original state of true love, purity, innocence. This is why they say, lest you become like little children, you shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, because it's about this organic innocence that we have inside of us that loves God, loves creation, has respect for life. So respect for life goes even further. Respect for life understands that every single thing that is in material existence was made from the hands of God, made in divine organic order. Plants, animals, water, human bodies, human DNA. We are all made perfectly in the image of creation. Human bodies are sacred. Human bodies are divine. So this is why in my womb healing teachings, these are the teachings of Holy Mother, because Mother is the teachings of matter and how we respect these very holy vessels that are the human body that carry such immense intelligence. So if we truly respected and understood the teachings of the high feminine, we would understand that sex changes are an abomination. They shouldn't exist ever. And what I mean by that is we can't have conversation about sex change until we talk about trauma, past lives, programming, ancestral trauma, right? Societal, patriarchal programming. If we're not talking about all those things and we're just letting 6-year-olds choose to be an opposite gender, we are basically allowing Satan to run amok in our society. This is really, really, really important. These are the key points, things that are the most important to me, because there are things, once you go down a certain line, right? Once you allow society to become chaotic to a certain level, it's very hard to come back from that. We've seen this in other societies inside the Bible that just were consumed by Satan and went up in flames. And I really believe that America is getting a second chance, that God's hands are on America. So we have to look um, at the fact that, one of the first speeches that Trump delivered, one of the first things that he said was that he's going to protect children and completely bring in this presidential order to eradicate sex change for children and to restrict gender confusion in children in schools because they were putting this programming into the public school system. He says that he's banning advertising for big pharma. Think about that for a second, okay? Why would the pharmacy want to put advertising? Why would they need to convince people to take things that are supposedly going to heal them if that's actually true? So we have to understand that free speech, this ethos of that we need to work hard to achieve our dreams, that protecting children and protecting the parents' right to educate their children, right? Restrict gender confusion. These things are not political, they are deeply spiritual. God is coming in and saying, if I'm going to save this country, these things have to be taken care of. Because in the past, there has been other nations that killed their unborn children and went into these realities, and those societies fell very hard. Very hard. Okay? So, why gender affirming woke ideologies are satanic and a danger to society is because they destabilize people. It encourages emotional imbalance, which is what we're seeing, right? There's never any mention of the chemicals that people are ingesting, the plastics, the endocrine disruptions, past lives. Like sometimes kids come in and they were just male for 5 lifetimes, and now they're a girl. They're still going to be in that male energy. They're going to think that they're a man. Doesn't mean that we have to do surgery on them. This is just insane. So, on the surface level, big pharma and evil doctors are making a lot of money, but on the underbelly of things, there are literal demons, predators in those realms, and they want the sex organs of children. They want not only in the past, it's like, okay, we're just going to sacrifice children and are just going to get their souls. Now it's they're going to get their whole life of suffering. Okay, that's like insane. That's insane. So this is the darkness that's on earth that is very hard to process and integrate and swallow, right? Because it's horrific. But for light workers, we just cannot have our heads in the sand any longer because it's real. In the past, it was like, oh, it could be a conspiracy theory. Even in 2017, when all the stuff was coming out about the pedophilia rings, we could still kind of be like, I think that could be not real. But a lot of us didn't go that way, right? A lot of us really woke up. And some people really stuffed it down and were like, that can't be true. That's too grotesque. And I have a lot of compassion for those who have yet to become fully lucid. But at this point, you're seeing it in front of our faces, right? It's beginning to show up in schools. My neighbor's kid is in high school and they had litter boxes in their bathrooms because they're like, kids can identify as cats and dogs. You have to understand that this is a level of mind control, trauma-based mind control that is meant to destabilize a civilization. And, as light workers, sometimes we don't like to talk about things in such a grounded 3D way. But the reason why America is so important is because if you look at the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? The reason why so many of us have so much time on our hands to speak light language and sage things and meditate is because our society has established a domain of safety. That was not always the case. That does not exist in all nations. So we have to be so grateful to get to live in a world, in a nation, in a country where we actually have the capacity to exercise our higher mind and to exercise our spirituality. This is something that is so important. I want to highlight because there's a reason why you live in one of these countries. There's a reason why your soul is watching this video right now and you have the capacity to watch this video, right? It's because you actually have an ability to do something in this world, to allow God to use you as an instrument. There's so many people all over the world that do not have that leisure, that do not have that capacity, do not have the 3D safety to even consider working on their spiritual selves. And so this is also the reason why they want to destabilize America. There's so many reasons, right? On the whole planet, I think if you just take a really long, hard look at the actual planet, okay? America is one of the safest, strongest nations that allows freedom of thinking, freedom of speech, for people to truly make money, make something of themselves, and do what they want to do, right? Exert power. This nation allows us to have power. And it's because so many people have gone and have died in the past to make sure that freedom and stability and power can be upheld in this country. This is why America is literally spoken about in prophecies. So there are two prophecies that I wanted to share today. One of them is by this Christian pastor. So I'm just going to share with you this video real quick.
Throughout America, all throughout, and I saw Trump rising up, and then I saw an attempt on his life. This bullet flew by his ear, and it came so close to his head that it busted his eardrum. And I saw he fell to his knees during this time frame, and he started worshiping the Lord. He got radically born again during this time frame. I'm talking. People say he's saved now, but he becomes really on fire for Jesus, for what I saw coming. And then.
Okay, so this video I saw basically a day or two, or maybe even on the day I found out that there was an attempt on his life. And almost my first immediate thought when I saw that was, or just the video footage of the assassination attempt, was that that man was saved by God. Okay, now, does that mean that he's now Jesus and the savior of the planet? No, it means that God saved his life to perform some sort of role that God understands. So this is the thing, is that our minds, when we have these mind viruses, we want to go black and white thinking, right? Either somebody is the complete devil or they're the absolute savior. And it's never like that. He's just a human being with certain skills, certain support systems, certain networks, certain amounts of money. And God was like, I can use this person to create, for some reason. And the reason I believe is that he's meant to create a shelter for the starseeds and the light workers to really start to do our work, to feel safe in sharing our truth, to feel safe in building our platform, to feel safe in sharing these gifts that God has placed inside of us without fearing that the government is going to take us down, right? That's a huge thing. And so this man, he's a religious prophet. He saw this vision of this happening. This video, by the way, was I think from April or March, right before the eclipses that happened in April, when there was a massive timeline impulse there as well. So this is one of the reasons why I just felt like, this win is a really great thing, because it's very clear to me that God's hands was on the situation. Now, some people thought that they staged it, and you just have to really think with your brain for a second, because the possibility of staging something like that is very low. I mean, I think that for Trump to be a part of a plan that just might end up with him dying, he would not be I wouldn't be doing that. So I do not think that it was staged. I do think that it was something divine. Now, the second prophecy, I'm just going to have to show you guys the screen because I couldn't find the time marker again. So this is the video here. You can find it for yourself. Hopi Prophecy, the Two Path, posted 4 years ago. But I think this is an older, oh yeah, 1972. So this is a video from 1972. And it's a Hopi elder talking about the prophecies that has been passed down by his people. And in one of the moments in this prophecy, he talks about how there's a man in a red hat who's going to lead a very powerful nation and initiate the times of purification. So I see that somebody said, if Trump is the light now, how did he get through the puppet masters? So great question. I thoroughly believe that he may actually be part of an agenda with Elon and people like Vivek to usher in a technological control era. So far, there basically are two factions, right? Some people say it's the satanic faction and the Luciferian faction. Some people say it's the, Moloch versus the AI. But basically, there could be two control systems. And as humans evolve, they have to change up their control systems. So basically, for example, in the medieval times, we had a monarch, right? And we had to evolve out of the monarchy because human consciousness was expanding. And if they wanted to keep hiding themselves and continue to control humanity without humans finding out about it, even though humans are getting more conscious, they have to change up their cages. So we could very well be witnessing the passing of hands, right? The transition from one control system to the next control system, and God seeing this whole and coming in and actually then changing the situation. That could totally be a part of it, because, one thing that I have spotted in Elon's energy is very strange manipulation. Like his eyes like wiggle in a weird way. It's very eerie. And when you think about it, he's got all these satellites and he's doing Neuralink now. Hey, I believe that anyone can be redeemed. So here's the thing. It's very possible that Trump was a part of this other control system that was coming in, and then God interceded. Because remember, anyone can be interceded by God at any time. God can make anyone their instrument at any time. Okay? This is why I haven't completely lost hope on Elon, even though I can clearly see that there is still Ahrimanic AI energies that are coming through him that I really believe, and I've received many visions about the earth and the guardians rehabilitating him. Now, I can't say that I've seen the complete success of that just yet. But what I have seen is, people like Tucker beginning to talk about demons. Tucker had a demonic attack a year and a half ago that he started talking about, and this made him religious. Now, again, it really comes back to the work that we do. People like you and me understanding this timeline, right? Not saying, okay, Trump and everyone, they're going to save everything and they're going to create heaven on earth, because they don't have the consciousness to fully do that. They're literally just hammering a hole in the establishment. And now it's creating this cover for us to do the work that we can do. So you're going to see the economy getting better. You're going to see less wars. You're going to see our children being protected. You're going to see the education system being cleared of the satanic agendas. And what this means is that it opens up a space of safety 4 years of this time for us to truly get our crap together, right? And become substantial leaders in human consciousness and thought. This is what it's all about. So what we have to understand is that this is the purification time, right? Like that Hopi prophecy was speaking. Is Trump going to be purifying everything? No. The prophecy is just saying this is the time, right? This is the thing, is that God's imagination, God's creativity is beyond our puny human brains that sometimes can get locked into bifocal thinking, black and white thinking. The fact that our little human puny brains sometimes even starts to think in terms of black and white is just a sign that we are not capable of understanding sometimes the grandness of our God's intelligence. And so prophecies, they're not saying, Trump is the ultimate savior. They're saying that this is a marker in time when we realize that the heaven on earth timelines that so many peoples on earth have prophesied, you and me included, every single person here probably has had a prophecy or held this prophecy of hell on earth inside of their heart. And that's why you resonate with my work. So you need to understand a prophecy isn't being made out of your mind or your soul's imagination. That prophecy was placed inside of you by God. And this is why in the beginning of our call today, I said the most important thing is we have to ask, how close am I to God? How much faith do I have in God? How much faith do I have in the prophecy that God placed inside of me before I even came down here onto this planet? And do I have more faith in that than in the evil? And for me, you guys know that I have so much faith in God that I just believe in whatever it tells me. I'm willing to do crazy things. I am surrendered and obedient to the will of our incredible, eternal Mother, Father, God. And so when that is inside of my heart and God speaks prophecies to me, I know that's the truth. I have much more faith in that. In fact, I have no faith in the evil. It already just, they're like these little bugs that require our help to get back into the swing of things, to get back home to God, right? So it's very important to be neutral and to be grounded and to be rational about things, to understand this is not about Trump saving the world, even though so far it looks like he's doing some pretty great things. And from human to human, I have gratitude for that. I have respect for that. He did a really great job on his campaign. And, you know, he's 76 years old and he did like 4 rallies in the matter of 48 hours and did not sleep. And all the way into his election presidential speech, he didn't sleep. So he did 4 rallies and then he did a speech. I mean, I couldn't do that. Could you do that at 76 years old? So as a human being that can think critically, I say, hey, that is something that I have respect for. I don't know what Kamala was doing at that point, but that's not what she was doing. So anyway, I have respect for that. Do I think that Trump is our ultimate deity and savior? No. Do I think that there's some things that he does that are worthy of my respect? Yes. Do I think that there's some parts of him that are less worthy of my respect? Yes. Do I expect him to be perfect? No, he's a human. I don't expect myself to be perfect. I don't expect any of you to be perfect either. If you have something that I can respect, I will respect it. If you have something that is not so worthy, I will say, hey, God redeems us all. God has the capacity to redeem anyone. But at the end of the day, we have to realize that there is this massive darkness on the earth that is being brought onto light. And if you're not like, if you're more focused about women's rights than about these children that are being like ritually abused and sacrificed, then that's like something that needs to get worked out in the mind, right? Because clearly, I think anyone can agree that the horrendous harm of children is something that must stop immediately on all levels. So this is the great darkness on earth that is very hard to process and integrate and swallow. So I hold a lot of compassion for those that have yet to become lucid. This is why in the Earth Star Academy, we call it lucidity training. And lucidity training involves us praying together, creating a very large field of peace and love, and then just having very real conversations about what happens to these children and how we can actually do something about it. People are waiting for a savior to go save those kids. Well, you know, I had a dream the other morning, a prophetic dream. And in this dream, I was making a live stream. I was like, hey guys, I'm about to, give away $200,000 because, you can actually hire retired police officers and retired veterans and create your own tactile unit that goes and hunts pedophile rings and then works with local police task forces. Okay, we need to be doing stuff like that. People like you and me have to understand that we can do things like that. We can create new education systems. We can create new foster care systems. We can create new healing centers. We can create our own task forces that are going out and rescuing these children, but we need to get grounded. We need to do our work. We need to stand in the power that God placed inside of us to be these light workers that we claim that we are. And in order to do that, we actually have to take a long, hard look at the evil that's on earth and alchemize it and be so embodied in our love and in our light that we only shine brighter and become part of the solution when we meet the evil. We're not scared. We are not questioning where we are. We're not questioning God. We are grounded in our conviction, in our power, in our authority, in our union with God. And we can stand in the face of evil like a true lighthouse. That is what an awakened, true person of light, I feel, looks like. And once we integrate those things and understand that our society has been infiltrated by this satanic reality that wants to abuse innocence and abuse the vulnerable, abuse human sanctity, right? Satan hates things that are divine, that are of God. We have experienced so much of that through persecution throughout all the ages and all the countries on the planet. And so when we understand that this is a much bigger picture, God's plan is much greater than we can possibly fathom, and that there is actually this massive darkness that is coming up to be cleansed, we understand that we are part of that solution. And if you feel afraid to talk to people about this kind of thing, there's work to do. If you feel afraid to stand in your truth and to feel safe in doing your work, there's work to do because God is calling you out. When this disclosure begins to happen, it is going to be you that people come to, right? We started out being the tin hat wearing crazy people. And when the Great Awakening starts happening, they know who to call. It's going to be their local starseed that was crazy all along. Okay? It's going to be you. That time is coming, but you have to be prepared. You have to know what to do. You have to know how to rehabilitate broken incarnations, broken spirits, broken light bodies, demonic intrusions, these kinds of things. You have to know how to heal and how to repair it. And this is the work that we do here at the Earthstar Academy. So once again, over the next 3 months, we're offering 3 really massive Gridwork missions. We're preparing actually into the Gridwork missions in 2025. And so much of this stuff is multifaceted. I've had 12 years of training to be able to articulate these things in the way that is understandable for you guys. And so go in the description of this video and I will, or message me and I will send you the link to these upcoming 3-day and 4-day Gridwork ceremonies. We're going to be teaching you how to heal and activate your light body to work in alignment and authority with God, to communicate about these issues. We're going to be going into the satanic energies and how to correct those energies, how to heal, things like pedophilia and pedophilic abuse, to understand that those things are not normal, but viruses, interdimensional demonic viruses that are infecting human beings. And we are actually going to be able to repair the grids that are holding those energies. And by doing so, shift planetary consciousness. What needs to happen is this great purification. And we're all a part of that. If you can do quantum healing work, then you're a part of this cleanup crew that is beyond the 3rd dimension. There is so many interstitial demonic pathways that need to get cleared out of the stargates, out of the grids, out of the lands that have had wars. If you want to know how to do this for yourself, for land, and for humans, please go look at the link, because these ceremonies are going to be so powerful and they're going to lead right up to our next massive Gridwork conference in Scotland next summer. So understanding that society is not looking for the true solutions through these politicians, okay? Whenever they talk about abortion and things like that, neither of these candidates are the ones that are going to evolve human consciousness, because that's what me and you are going to do. But, at least Trump is anti-Satan, and that's kind of the good part of it. So let me see if there's anything that wants to come through. Okay, guys. Whew. Again, the reason why this timeline is so exciting is because over the next 4 years, it's all going to be about what you do. Okay, it's all going to be about how you stand up. There's a chance for you to change your economic situation, change your family situation, change the state of the health and healing inside of your body. Okay? And that's what this is all about. That's what this is all about. I think we're on a higher timeline. It's not because Trump is going to save the world. It's because there's a cover over the field. Diana says, wow, this is not at all what I expected from this community. I'm leaving this more terrified than ever. You can't save them all. And that's okay. That's okay. Okay. Not everyone is meant to be doing this work. My work is not for everyone. And in fact, I prayed for that, you guys. Like, I was sitting there the other day, I was like, there's some people where like they're just not going to be able to like stomach what is about to come up, to understand like what happens to children around this planet. Like, I'm just the type of dragon that when I'm praying, like I go down in there. If I feel like there's a ritual sacrifice going on, I go right in there and I hold the children. I don't care what I have to withstand and see, because I'm okay with that. I'm here for that. I'm the true light that's here to go into the darkness and uphold God's plan and God's love no matter where we are. And, not everyone's going to be able to do that. And that's okay. We don't judge them. We don't say, oh, they're stupid, or, they're missing brain cells. Some people are just really quick to judge people. And it's like, at the end of the day, we have to have compassion. We have to have compassion for all of these people, because what's happening on the earth is insane. It's crazy. And for those of you that are strong, that are here, let's get trained. Let's do this work, okay? Go into the description, come into this training, because it's time for us to do this work for real. And one day, we are going to have, like, if we rescue all these children, that's a lot of people that need healing. A lot of people that need healing. And if we're scared of little demons and little psychic attacks in our own life, how are we going to deal with these things? So we need to get strong. We need to train. We need to get right with God. And this is what I do. This is what I offer in the Earth Star Academy. This is the training ground for angels. It is very multifaceted. For some reason, I came in with a lot of knowledge, a lot of support, a lot of information. And over the next 4 years, it's not going to be the golden age right away. Okay, the Hopi have said is the age of purification. Is the age of purification. What that means is these things are going to come up, and we have to purify. We have to come back into right relationship. We have to resolve outdated karma on the planet. We have to come back into right relationship with the earth. Nicole says, this is exactly what I need to hear from this community. Thank you so much for saying that. I feel like I need training to be able to help and heal. Come on in. This is the thing. I was like, we need to prepare. And over the last 4 years, I've been preparing and building this training system and really getting strong for you guys. And I'm so honored and grateful that we can do this work together, because I truly believe that this is the stuff that we came here for. Like, over the next 2 years, you're going to see that I'm going to start to communicate to people that are waking up about these realities. I'm going to start talking to them about the multidimensionality of our light body and the siphoning of the satanic realms. They're almost ready. And in order for me to be ready for that, I had to prepare myself. And this is what I'm trying to role model for you guys, that the gifts and the mission and the prophecy that God has placed inside of you, it's in perfect God's timing. If we have faith in God, then we have faith in God's timing, and we have obedience for what God wants us to do right now. And that includes us getting our emotions in order, getting our healing in order, getting our finances in order, getting our family in order, so that we can actually be strong pillars in our society. Okay, strong pillars of maturity, anchors of faith, examples of peak health, love for God. And I need you guys to understand that there's a lot of people on this planet who think they know what's going on. And, they have a lot of love for God, for example, but they're still operating in the religious programs. Okay. At some point, you stop being afraid of those people and you realize that you are carrying the authority. God placed that authority inside of you to uphold and to lead humanity. And that's all you need to know. You don't need those people's approval. You don't need anyone's approval. It's between you and God. But, we have to embody maturity to be diplomatic. If we have to make bridges, if we want to build bridges, we have to embody safety, neutrality, and groundedness and love. And this is the level of maturity and embodiment that we're going to need. You know, Carter says, if we could have the support of a good economy and justice, that would be amazing. Exactly. If that's all we're going to get, that's enough, right? People want affordable groceries, affordable gas. Imagine what you could do if the economy of America was strong. You can start a business, right? You can speak your message. You can share, you can create strength and you can do what you came here to do. That's why it's important. We've had 4 years of the previous administration, and things have never been harder for Americans, right? Gas, rent, everything. I think in the whole world has been like that. And if we could have a strong economy and actual disclosure happening about, the Diddy files and the Epstein list and things like that, which I think they're on their way out. I think they're on their way to being released. Because again, this age of purification, this is what's being purified, the ritual black magic from the fall of Atlantis, from the fall of Egypt. So understanding that this win is actually supporting you, okay? It's actually creating a platform and a cover and a vacuum of safety for you to get your shit together and do your work. Hata says, thank you so much. I have always believed in knowing what you speak. I'm in for the task, ready to roll up my sleeves and do the work on the physical plane. Yes, love that energy. LG says, it's so real to me. Love is the true essence of the universe, strong, impenetrable, and beautiful. I love that. Ernie says, we must realize we are the bridge and then decide what we're going to bring through. White Swan says, Gays Against Groomers is a massively powerful group against the trans agenda and what's happening to children. No one here is saying the LGBT community is evil. Thank you for sharing that. They do amazing work. You have to be ready when you go in this rabbit hole, okay? I'm just telling you guys, it's not pretty. It's, in fact, there are some things that I was going to share on the screen, but I'm not going to today. I will sometime in a video because this is kind of a new avenue of work that God is really inspiring me to go down, because people need to understand it's not just about supporting gay people. In fact, Gays Against Groomers have gotten a huge following because they are a coalition of gay people who are pissed that people are using them as a scapegoat to allow pedophiles and pedophilic ideology into human civilization. This is very dark stuff. Very dark. Some of the stuff that I've discovered is that the people that are on the board of trying to get minors sex change approved, and on the board of these councils that uphold child sex changes, like the proper medical board or whatever, there are some of those people that are in pedophilic groups. Okay, they are in forums that are about fetishes of children removing their organs. Okay, I was gonna share. I'm gonna share that story with you guys. This is the type of stuff that I'm over here stomaching because this is the reality. This is what is happening. These are the people that are trying to insert this ideology into the school systems. You have to understand, it's sick. There are pedophiles that are influencing policy and influencing the education of our children, and we should be very, very, very wary of that. And I mean, it's sick. But I just want to say that it is a demonic virus, this virus, and it's not even about the pedophiles. It's about this demonic energy that's trying to invert human consciousness and siphon this planet into what is called a phantom realm or a pocket dimension. And this is what, these next trainings are going to be about. I want to show you guys what I've got worked out for you. So this is the new grid mission that just landed. I had to even wait for the election results to share this with you because there were just some things that I didn't even know if it was safe for me to say unless this administration has fully anchored. And so essentially we are doing 2 events on the Laniakiea heart alignment. Laniakiea is the name of our universal body. It's a Hawaiian word for God and the heavens. And so this is going to be the core of the universal body that the earth, the sun is coming into alignment with. So on this galactic days, we receive just beyond universal realm consciousness, the eternal realm consciousness. And through that period of time, we're going to be doing prophecy, planetary grid work, advanced light body activations, and talking about how the aurora hubs are here to collapse and close down all the inverted stargates and ley line systems on the Earth. So this is really going to be a activation and preparing us for the mission next year, okay? Because this is going to happen in December. Mission directive: activate our avatar light body, initiate our connection to the Aurora Hub Ascension technologies, remember how to operate, support, communicate, create, and amplify land grid energies and sacred sites. And then we're going to have a 3-month training period. And then this is actually the big mission, February, during the Cygnus alignment. Okay, to dismantle negative alien technology, planetary control, dissolve anti-union splitting, the split of mother and father, the split between our inner masculine, inner feminine, the split between our higher source and our human body, and the inversion, all right? The inversion is inverting, like perversion and ritual abuse is all about inverting the natural flow of energy. So this is creating black magic siphoning systems that is literally siphoning the organic energy. This is kind of like a planetary rape of Mother Earth. So this work is about restoring the organic blueprints and timelines to allow planetary consciousness to access eternal God world consciousness. This is high-level guardian grid work, you guys, and this mission is about to be massive. This is why there's going to be an entire 3-month training period in between the first part and the second part. But we're going to be talking about the architecture of the phantom satanic soul prison. We're going to talk about the inversion of our sacred sexuality and the fracturing of our mother and father principles. And then we're going to talk about rehabilitating physical, planetary, galactic, and universal light body. And then we're going to do a 2 to 3 hour gridwork ceremony together to dismantle and clear these energies from the earth. So I have all of the workshops down here. You can check it out on your own time. These missions are always so powerful. And again, I think more than 80% of the proceeds of these trainings are going to go directly towards our own Aurora Hub Gateway, establishing the land and establishing this new ley line Stargate system that is going to be the thing that actually ushers in the golden age, right? Is about collective consciousness. So this is the level of work that we're about to do that I literally could not articulate to this level. And actually tomorrow, we're going to be doing a commands workshop inside of the Earthstar Academy. And so, yes, I hope that you guys are excited because this is all what is upcoming for us. And if we can just understand that there's a much bigger plan, God's hands are all over this timeline, all over every single one of us. Sarah says, do you see religious programming breaking down anytime soon? So I'm going to be making a video about this. This is one of the things that I'm going to be making a specific video about over the next couple weeks. So if you're new here, please subscribe to my channel because I'm about to just, I'm going to be doing this work on YouTube as well. So, if you can't afford to join the containers, I'm still here. It's just that the containers create a sacred space of safety when we all are invested in the work that we are doing together. But essentially, I think that it absolutely is coming down because what is going to be exposed is the Vatican's connection with the ritual abuse. The Vatican's connection with the child and human trafficking rings that are connected into the elites and the monarchs and the royal families. So I 100% see that glass ceiling shattering. Again, I never recommend us praying for that. We have to pray for ourselves to be ready for that. We have to be ready for ourselves to be upholding enough peace in our bodies for humans to wake up. I mean, just think about how people are reacting, right? Like a lot of people are making funny videos about leftist tears. And I think it's really sad how this political party and how the media has created so much emotional instability in people. It's actually a horrendous thing that's really serious. Okay, they have just completely damaged people on a very deep level. They are using all these narratives. Like on election night, I was actually, I had different videos, and one of them Shane had up was MSNBC. And we just wanted to hear like the kind of things they were saying. And we just were shocked. Like they were just literally fueling this emotional turmoil and victimization and just this manipulation, right? And it's so sad. They're literally just pouring gasoline on a fire of emotional instability. And I think somebody needs to maybe go to jail for that, because that's pretty intense, but it's complex, you know? But think about even that, and like, imagine how those people are going to react if they found out like what kind of crazy things these people do at their parties, and what kind of rituals they do to fallen beings that wish they were deities. Like it's actually crazy if you start to think about that. So this will be a hard one. The religious deprogramming. Our Lady Mother of Truth, you untie the knots, show us the way. Yes, absolutely. One thing that I want to say is that with the religious programming, we need to, of course, heal our own religious trauma, right? We have to come back into union with God. That's the biggest message I have for the Starseed and Lightworker community, because so many times, we get too comfortable with saying the word source. And there is just missing elements in the word source. The reason why I say God is because that carries so much more wisdom and maturity, that is like the gospels of creation that gets lost when we completely throw religion, completely throw Christianity. These things weren't Christianity or religion at all in the ancient times, but there were the original teachings of the Christ, of Christos, of being in right relationship with God as a human being. And so it's so important for us to get into the original Gnostic union with Christ teachings in our day-to-day life. We have to get into right relationship with Holy Mother and Holy Father so that they can support us and love us and heal us and guide us on our way. We're not here to guide ourselves and to think about, oh, what was my mission? What am I supposed to do? We have to get right with God. And that's where our power is going to come from. That's where the miracles come from. That's where the alignment and the genius and the ideas and the passion, that's where it all comes from. So in order for us to demolish the religious programming, we have to embody that architecture of right relationship with God so we can then project it and establish it outside of ourselves. So Nixon says, we all been duped. Not one of us is exempt from that. Compassion is the key. I love that. That is so true. MK Ultra has harmed so many people, especially elites. We have to have compassion and heal together. That's true. Absolutely. Has anyone felt like this week has actually been like 3 weeks? Yes. Not sure where they're going to put all these demons. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I feel like there are different conversations, but these are the conversations that need to be held with groups of people that are grounded, that are emotionally mature, right? That are embodied in the Christed architecture, right? And so that's like you guys. You guys are on the forefront of that. You are here to be leaders. You're here to establish a new consciousness on the earth. And in order to do that, you have to establish the true architecture of Christ, Christos. That's why it's called the Christos Starseed mission, because we're starseeds that remember the true essence of God and the true teachings of Christ. And we're here to embody that. We're here to embody that so that we can become the solution in this world. And I really believe that this is a timeline that we're on. Renee says, I've been awake for 25 years and I feel numb right now. And it could be because you're disassociated, because there's trauma. When the 25 years, we've really been in a stasis. And now the time capsules are unfolding and we're actually going to do what we came here to do. That means humans are going to see you. That means you're going to have to say things that got you killed in a past life. Right? And so, if now is finally the time for you to stand up and be brave, of course, we're going to feel numb if we haven't fully healed our persecution trauma. Ram says, when's the next session on Issa coming out? I'm, you feel this fire? I was waiting, it's coming out. So I am also so ready. It's about to be fire. There's no time to waste in fluffy spirituality. Let's do it. Rhonda says, would doing the Emerald training again be good? Yes, doing that training again would be awesome. And for those of you that are going to be joining this new Gridwork mission, I will include the recordings from the previous trainings with it, just because it's always helpful to have a continuation, because this is not the beginning of the work. Can you help with the CRISPR babies, you think? Yeah, all of that, it's complicated. This satanic being, demon, has absolute hatred and jealousy for the Holy Mother, because all he wants is to be able to create. That's why he's saying all this crazy stuff, like men can get pregnant, men can breastfeed, men have a cervix, men can have a freaking lab-grown uterus, okay? And then he's like, oh, woman, what is a woman? We're not even gonna say woman. We're gonna say chest feeders. This demon hates the feminine. And I want you guys to understand that it's not the patriarchy. On saying, oh, the patriarchy this, the patriarchy that, this is all trauma that's being amplified and being used as a weapon against humanity. It's not about the patriarchy at all. The patriarchy was a negative alien mind control program to insert this false father to abuse the mother energy. And it's done this by creating this frequency fence so that the true father energy couldn't come in. And this is in the 11th dimension. We're going to be talking about this in our training in this second week, in the second part, dismantling inversion networks. We're going to be talking about biospiritual abuse of the female and the male bodies, and understanding how this original fall and the split, this trap, starts in the 11th dimension, and how it basically blocks humans from accessing the true father, and blocks the true father from being able to anchor the domain of heaven. And this has been this on earth. We've experienced it as the patriarchy program, but they want to pit this against saying like, oh, men did this to women, and it's not. Men are not to blame for what the negative aliens did, right? When a man is in his original architecture, he loves creation. He loves Holy Mother. He takes care, he provides, he upholds safety for her. So all of this is essential for us to understand in our training to restore the original blueprints on the earth. Lauren says, this would be so useful here in Zimbabwe, as child trafficking is huge during the constant trauma and war that have siphoned the life force of the people. Your courses are in alignment with this time. I mean, yes, I definitely have been plotted right on this earth at this time to do exactly what I'm doing. But this is where it's going, Lauren, and everyone. Like, your Aurora hubs are going to be these domains of safety, these domains of new earth. And in order to do that, you have to be grounded and establish yourself as a person in your spiritual and emotional leadership and maturity, right? Imagine having a 2,000-acre property in Zimbabwe where you are building these sanctuaries and refuge and creating healing programs and making jobs for healers that are going to support these children, and they can, go into regenerative farming. These are the things that need to be created, and they can be starting. You can start to create them today. Oh my God, Waswan, the Poke's face is hilarious. So Ernie says, we got this, people. Less fear, more love. Once we see each other standing up, we empower ourselves and others. I love that. Humble Warrior says, my stomach just leached. I may not be ready. And it's okay. This is why in the Earthstar Academy, we have a whole 250 modules of self-healing, and I call foundations level curriculum, so that we can get ready. right? You do the self-healing, you establish God inside of your body, you heal your own shadow, and then you are ready because you know that the highest truth and the highest light is what is animating your body. But in order to do that, you have to go through the grounded earthwork, which is, I feel like, what is missing from most of the new age spiritual stuff. So if you feel like you want to get ready, I invite you into the Earth Star Academy so we can start to do this training work. Believe in yourself. You are strong. Your soul is ready to do this. If you ended up on this live stream somehow and you're still here, let's get to work. So let's see. Roseanne Barr has a harsh way of speaking about what they do to the children. Never a good topic to listen to, but just saying, yeah, listening to these things, I do it sometimes. It's called lucidity training. And the way that I offer lucidity training is a little bit more tender and gentle, even though the things that we talk about is, really dark and horrible. But if you're a strong warrior, go and listen to these things, right? Listen to testimonies of survivors. And there's an ex CIA, or is it some Secret Service guy, Ted Gunderson. He's done a lot of disclosure videos about his work, discovering the satanic networks, and the CIA has been trying to shut him up. Like they're trying to hide it. So Trump's eardrum was not blown up. He would have been in the hospital for weeks. Oh my God, did not save his life. If you don't want to see it, you can't see it. So that's okay. Where did these reptilians originally come from? So I have an entire module in the Earthstar Academy in the Foundations course at the beginning about the fall of this universal body. We are also going to go into it in one of these, I think in the first of the 3 days Gridwork training. But essentially it is this universal lifetime of this experiment of absolute free will. So at the end of the day, it is actually something that the universe created to experience things that otherwise they would not have been able to experience. But that experiment is now coming to a close, which is why we're all here, ushering this new architecture, not only for the earth, but for the universal body. And it is more complex than that, but that's the simple explanation. Kara says humans are not ready for alien disclosure or free energy tech. I think more and more people are ready, though. Trump has taken away the rights of women to control their body. How is the biggest liar on the planet providing safe cover for starseeds? He's convicted and he's a liar. So I welcome this conversation, and your perspective is totally okay. And I just welcome you to watch the first part of this video because I do explain to you how he is providing a safe cover for starseeds. If you are actually wanting to hear, and if you want to feel better, if you want to heal from your emotional damage, please watch the first half of this video. But if you really want to be in a state of emotional turmoil, then you can also do that. It's totally up to you. You're a sovereign being, and we can all decide what we want to do with our lives at the end of the day. Okay. All Lives has been following your work since 2019. Resonate deeply with your frequency and perspectives. Thank you so much. Thank you, you guys. I'm so happy to be here with you. Elizabeth says the truth isn't soft or pretty. Yeah. I feel like I'm part of the grid work you're speaking of. We all are. We've all been working on this for so long, and so many of us have very important keys and codes. And this is what I want you to understand. These gridwork events is so much about us building a field and working together. Some people, like at the Hill of Tara, some people got guided to this spot and that spot, and we were just all like literally one living technology being orchestrated by God. And I just have so much honor and gratitude to be, holding this anchor for us. But really, it is learning how to all listen to God at the same time, and it's so powerful. So when we come together to do these gridwork ceremonies, it is just absolutely incredible. Every person finds their own role and their own medicine and puts it together. And it's a really big mission this time we're coming up against, right? We're literally about to clear the things that I'm going to tell you about over the next month. some of it is pretty tough to deal with, but how are we supposed to clear it out if we can't stomach and be present with it? So this is kind of the next level of the work that yes. Rom says, the way you maturely and respectfully handle people coming at you blows my mind. Give it up for non-violent communication. I truly, it's not hard when you can look beyond the viruses and what is not human. I have a deep love for human beings. And the reason why I have a deep love for human beings is because God made us to be these sacred and divine vessels of the most precious spark of, the universe. And I have such a deep love for God and for all that is organic and living. And that love allows me to pierce through whatever people is, where they're currently tied up, on the earth. And I think that if we can all just see through the mirage and realize that we're really on this rock and we're all on this together, and if we can really get grounded in our skills and abilities, we can do a lot for humanity. And those people really need our prayers. Those people need our healing. In fact, those are the people that we came to the planet for, if you really think about it. We came to the earth for humanity, for people. And there are some people that have been so manipulated. There's some people that have been so manipulated and emotionally abused by the system that they're really losing it. And we really, we came here for those people, and we got to have compassion for them. Brad says, the source consciousness God wants us to worship it. So from my understanding and my relationship with God, God has never felt like it wants me to worship it. But once I came into communion with God, God is so incredible. God is so amazing that I just fall into this organic state of awe. I just feel so overtaken by the beauty and the brilliance and the immeasurable intelligence and love of God that I just fall into a state of devotion and awe. So I wouldn't say it's worship per se. And I think that there is huge worship programming by the false gods that have established human religion and have made it, humans have to worship. This is something that we need to be really aware of. But I think that sometimes because we have religious trauma, that it blocks us from actually connecting to our true Christos architecture. And so that's something that is really important for us to be aware of. Okay. So Trevor says reverence. Love that word. One of my favorites. True worship is from the heart, spontaneous, says Grand Strategist. I love that. Christian teaching says that we should worship God. Yeah, this is a great conversation, right? This is also a part of the control system, is the field of false Christ, which is, again, in the 11th D, in the 10th and 11th dimension, because beyond the 12th dimension, we start to get into the unified realms where mother, father are not separate. The 12th dimension is when those forces can start to be identified in their own essence. They're starting to be split up into their own being so that the polarity co-creation can happen, right? So they can start to be identified as their own thing. And this makes it, again, vulnerable for interjections. And so something has come in that has kind of hijacked the Father's consciousness and used the architecture, distorted the architecture of Holy Father to block humans from accessing the true Father, and started to siphon that energy and abuse the feminine. This is all in the 11th dimension. And original sin and all of these things are part of the inversions, right? They're part of the inversions of, we should be ashamed for being human. The true teachings of Christ, remember, it's about source incarnating into the flesh, and is about source, God, Christ, living in every living thing. Every living thing. And that's what is the true Christic reality. And if we understand that, and we realize that incarnation begins the moment that the cells, the egg and the sperm meet, and there's a burst of light. It's been photographed, this burst of light. And that is when the incarnation process begins to happen, cell by cell. It's incredible. It's divine. And what we can learn from this is that all of life is sacred. And these are the true teachings of the Native Americans, of many, many cultures that the fallen branches of Christianity try to wipe out. This is a deep conversation, but your internal, like Ra Q says, you're right, you don't need church to pray or stay with spirit, but we definitely do need to pray. We definitely do need to commune with God. We cannot do this mission without God. We cannot do this mission on our own. We are not the entirety of God. This is one of those Luciferian spiritual ego, spiritual traps, right? We have to come into right relationship and remember the Christos in our heart and embody humility, right? Virtue, Christed qualities and embodying them. So Brad says, Doreen Virtue taught higher consciousness and angel therapy. Then she says that the Bible is the ultimate truth and that she was deceived. I actually made this amazing video just I think a month or two ago. If you go on my channel, go on the live stream tab. It's called I'm Leaving the New Age. I highly recommend that video for you if you'd like to watch it. Okay, so anyway, thank you so much for tuning in to this live stream today. I hope that it was helpful for you guys. Let's just do a little bit of a recount. So remember, the mind virus, also known as the bi-wave consciousness, separation consciousness, right? It blocks us from understanding our inherent unity and our union with God. It reduces everything to super simplicity. And so when you recognize that in someone, do not sink to that same frequency, but hold peace, hold love, hold understanding, hold compassion. And, people will actually reorient because you're holding that truest and most solid signal. The problem comes when we actually take the bait and we start arguing and we start saying, oh, you're the stupid one. And how can you not see this? Look at all this proof. We're in that bi-wave consciousness field where, it can be fun for a second, but it's not where the solution is. So we have to understand that the mind virus has infiltrated and is abusing people. It's abusing people through the TV, through the programming. And we have to have compassion for that. And the more that we actually embody our power, the more that we can be a support for that. Now, the next thing is understanding that it doesn't even matter what you say to these people because you have to do your work. Your work is not arguing with other people. Your work is identifying the gifts and the prophecy and the blessings that God has placed inside of you to share with humanity. And I want you to master those things, to get so grounded inside of yourself and so good at what you do. If you're a healer, get really good at being a healer. If you are a lawyer, get really good at being a lawyer. If you are an artist, get really good at being an artist. Whatever it is that you're here to do it so well, and then go out there and share your gifts and share your truth and speak with power and conviction, right? And then from there, we're really going to be able to see us come up, ride the crest, come into this age of purification and see the arrival of the sixth sun or the heaven on earth, the aurora earth, new earth, whatever the language, right? It's the same thing that ultimately we're all co-creating. And this is really just so exciting. So I'm so excited to inform you guys more of all that is coming up in the next month. I also want to tell you guys that my 2025 Galactic Astrology calendar has also been complete now. That link is also in the description. So if you're looking for one of those, you can get it there's a package for the Gridwork that actually includes the calendar. So just make sure you're looking and reading everything well because so much is coming and is really requiring high levels of noggin usage to receive all of these things so that we can do the work that we're here to do. So anyway, that's all I have for you today. I love you guys so much. I'm looking forward to sharing with you guys these updates that I have coming up. I think they're going to be recorded videos. We're going to be doing one about abortion, about the Vatican, about artificial implants and the planetary stargates. Also about Diddy and, why that secret society and what kind of grid work impacts those things create. Looking forward to sharing all those mini masterclasses with you guys. And I love you so much, and I'll see you soon. Love your noggins, everyone. Hugs. Thank you for hanging out with me. You guys are amazing. See you soon. Bye for now.